This isn't just the story of a world-class player. It's the tragic tale of a footballing prophecy that never quite came true. For a fleeting moment, we all believed a new era was dawning, a rivalry to define a generation. To see how it all unfolded, and for more stories that get to the heart of the beautiful game, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. There was a point in time, a brilliant, shining moment, where I truly thought Gareth Bale was destined to become the best player in the world. I imagined it vividly, a new titanic clash, Bale versus Neymar, stepping into the colossal shoes of Ronaldo versus Messi. The stage was set, the script was written, and it felt like we were standing on the precipice of something truly legendary. But football, as we know, rarely follows the script. For one reason or another, neither of them ever truly managed to touch the celestial standard set by arguably the two greatest players to ever grace a pitch. And out of the two, for me, it was Bale whose story carried the heaviest weight of disappointment. When his star began to rise, I was already a massive admirer of Neymar. I'd spend hours falling down YouTube rabbit holes watching clips of this Brazilian kid, this phenom who danced with the ball, a player who seemed to be the spiritual heir to Ronaldinho himself. In my eyes, anyone who dared challenge Neymar's ascent was destined to fall short. But then came Bale. And he was something entirely different. He was a force of nature. Strong with shoulders so broad, he barely resembled a winger, yet blessed with a blistering speed that seemed to defy his own powerful frame. For a breathtaking second, it felt like Real Madrid had found another Ronaldo, a mirror image, ready to terrorize defenses on the opposite flank. He was meant to be the successor, the heir apparent. But if Bale was expected to one day take the throne, he ended up failing to even be the perfect co-star we all craved. This story is a reflection on what happened, a journey into the past, to understand the complicated legacy of Gareth Bale. It all began in 1989, in Cardiff, Wales. Being born Welsh with a deep burning passion for football must be a peculiar experience. You're born in the United Kingdom, a place where football is woven into the very fabric of culture. Yet you're separated from playing alongside your English compatriots on the international stage. You're left to represent a national team with a history steeped in struggle, in near misses, in heartbreak. Maybe I don't fully grasp the depth of their national pride. But from the outside, it always seemed like an incredibly tough path for a young prodigy to walk. Growing up, Bale was a phenomenal, all-around athlete. He didn't just play football. He excelled in everything. He took to the rugby pitch, the hockey field, and even the athletics track. He claimed with the quiet confidence of a kid who knows his own gifts that at the age of 14, he could run the 100 meters in 11.4 seconds. That's a time staggeringly close to a national record. And frankly, it explains an awful lot about the explosive player he would become. After starring for his school's football team, he joined a local club called Cardiff Civil Service FC. It was at a six-a-side tournament with this small club that his life would change forever. He caught the eye of a Southampton scout, a man who saw the raw, untamed talent shimmering in the young boy. The scout was so impressed, so certain he'd found something special, that he approached Bale's parents with extreme care, moving silently so as not to alert any rival scouts to the gem he'd unearthed. Soon after, Gareth Bale joined Southampton at one of their satellite academies near Bristol, and the journey truly began. Over the years that followed, Bale became a legend in his own right, not just for Southampton's youth setup, but for his school team as well. One of his PE teachers famously said that it became completely unfair for the other kids to even be on the same pitch as him. It got so lopsided that the teacher had to invent special rules just for Bale little challenges to try and level the playing field. He'd be told he could only play with his weaker foot, or that he was only allowed one touch on the ball. The classic struggles of a prodigy, I suppose. Once he graduated, Southampton wasted no time. Before the season had even ended, they called him up to the first team. At just 16 years old, Bale became the second youngest player to ever debut for the club, second only to another future star, Theo Walcott. The following season, there was simply no denying his quality. He was unleashed. Bale played 43 matches for the club, a constant marauding threat down the flank. He even began to build a reputation as a dead ball specialist, his free kicks becoming a potent weapon. And all of this becomes even more impressive when you remember one crucial fact back then: Gareth Bale was still playing as a left back. As his defensive skills sharpened over the season, the conclusion was inescapable. We were witnessing a once-in-a-generation talent, the best young player of the season. He needed a bigger stage, and so Tottenham Hotspur came calling, paying what now seems like a ridiculously measly £5 million for this incredible young man. In his first 3 months at the club, he hit the ground running, making 12 appearances and scoring a few goals, including a stunning free kick in the North London derby that had the Spurs fans salivating, dreaming of what was to come. But then disaster. The season was cut brutally short for him. He suffered severe ligament damage in a match against Birmingham City, and the momentum was gone. Over the summer, as he recovered, he received his first call-up to the Welsh national team. It was a proud moment, though it would be a very long time before he'd get to showcase his talents in a major international tournament. His words at the time give some context to my earlier questions about his national identity. When the press inevitably asked about the potential of him playing for the English national team, Bale's response was blunt, fierce, and unequivocal. "I don't care if I never qualify," he said. "I'm never playing for England. It is what it is." That was that. When he returned for the following season, he played well, but the explosive spark wasn't quite there yet. He wasn't an undisputed starter by any means, and the season felt like a period of stagnation, a year of treading water across the 30 matches he played. At the start of the next season, fate dealt him another cruel blow. Another injury left him on the sidelines, and when he returned, he found his path to the first team blocked by Benoit Asuekoto, who was in scintillating form. For a moment, there was genuine reason to worry for the future of Gareth Bale. Was he going to be another story of unfulfilled potential? But in a strange twist of fate, I guess you could say he owes a great deal to the fragile groin of Asuekoto. An injury to the Cameroonian left-back forced manager Harry Redknapp's hand, and Bale was thrust back into the lineup as a regular starter. Over the next 2 months, something clicked. Bale improved with every single game, growing in confidence, in power, in influence. It all culminated in him being awarded the Premier League Player of the Month award after scoring the winning goals in 2 massive games, the North London derby against Arsenal, and a crucial match against the eventual champions Chelsea. The left-back position now belonged to Gareth Bale, and he was ready to leave his mark. He carried that phenomenal form through the rest of the season and straight into the next. The incredible performances just kept coming. He scored twice to single-handedly turn a game around against Stoke City, and then in a stunning display of creative genius, he provided 4 assists in a single Champions League game against Young Boys. These performances were a clear signal that a career-defining moment was just around the corner. But even so, nobody, absolutely nobody, was expecting what would happen when Tottenham traveled to face the mighty Inter Milan at the iconic San Siro Stadium. It's important to remember the context here. At the time, Tottenham were just beginning to transition into the period of overperformance that we associate with them now. That season was only their second ever in the Champions League, with their first appearance coming way back in 1962, long before the modern format. They weren't favorites against the reigning European champions, not by a long shot. But once they got to the San Siro, they seemed determined to make their already slim chances even worse. The whistle blew and the nightmare began. Within 2 minutes, they had conceded the first goal. By the 8th minute, their goalkeeper Jorelho Gomez had been sent off. The brilliant Luka Modric was sacrificed, pulled from the midfield in exchange for a new goalkeeper. It was frankly just embarrassing. The humiliation slowed down a bit, but by halftime they were 4-0 down. You could barely tell the two teams apart on the pitch, one in blue and black, the other in white. But it was a masterclass against a group of shell-shocked players. But then the second half began. And for Gareth Bale, it was the night he announced himself to the world. He picked up the ball deep inside his own half, and he just ran. He sprinted down the left wing like a cartoon roadrunner, leaving defenders in his wake. He cut inside, and from a brutally tight angle, he unleashed a thunderous shot into the far corner. It was a moment of pure, breathtaking individual brilliance. A consolation, sure, but what a consolation. A few minutes later, he did it again. Same run, same impossible angle, same result. The Inter defenders looked utterly bewildered. Then, in the dying moments of the game, he completed his hat trick. This time, he didn't get to sprint down the wing like a freight train. He shot from about the same spot, another perfect strike from an impossible angle. I guarantee you, when that final whistle blew, not a single Spurs fan was thinking about the 4-3 loss. All they could think was, who is this kid really? And how on earth is he in our squad? That night in Milan, as incredible as it was, raises a question about individual brilliance versus team results. Bale scored a legendary hat trick, yet his team still lost. How much can one player truly do? If you were a manager, would you build a team around a singular explosive talent like this, or would you prioritize a more balanced, cohesive unit? Drop your honest opinions in the comments below. I'm really curious to see what you all think. When Inter were forced to come to White Hart Lane for the return fixture, they looked like a completely different team. It was as if Bale had scarred them, leaving a psychological wound. He continuously toyed with Maicon, one of the world's best right-backs at the time, turning him inside out on the left flank. And although Tottenham took the lead without his direct involvement for the remainder of the game, he was the architect. He supplied his teammates with cross after devastating cross, leading to 2 more goals. A third was disallowed in classic Bale fashion. He'd taken the opportunity to run so fast that he'd actually gone outside the pitch, and unfortunately, on this occasion, so had the ball for a split second. But the message was sent. All doubts were dead and buried. In the space of 2 games, Gareth Bale had become one of the best players in the world, and it seemed he was more than capable of getting even better. Over the rest of that year, Bale kept pushing Tottenham, driving them further and further. And despite their eventual 6th-place finish, due in part to some back problems that stopped Bale from maintaining his superhuman performances, his efforts were recognized with the prestigious PFA Player of the Year award. The following season felt like a transition period for the team. And though it served for Bale to show clear improvements in his own game, his goal-scoring and assist-making abilities exploding to a total of 30 goal contributions for the season, it wasn't enough to leave a lasting mark. Tottenham finished 4th, but agonizingly missed out on the Champions League spots. They didn't go very far in any of the cup competitions either. In a way, the highlight of Bale's season was another Premier League Player of the Month award, which felt completely unrepresentative of the sheer level he was playing at. Thankfully for him and for us, the 2012-2013 season would be the one. The one where he became a true hallmark of Premier League history. Bale was finally moved up the pitch in a significant, permanent way. He told journalists point blank, "I'm not a left-back anymore." He took the number 11 shirt and even started getting playing time as a second striker. After this change, he quite simply proved to everyone that he could indeed take it to another level. Out of nowhere, he was a different beast entirely. A goal-scoring monster. By January, Bale had scored 9 goals and provided 4 assists in 17 Premier League games. And yet, unbelievably, Spurs were still languishing in 5th on the table. It was hard to believe. It seemed that no matter what heroic feats Bale performed, there was no way he could drag the team to success all by himself. Anyone else would have gotten frustrated, their head would have dropped. But Bale, He just pushed even harder. Over the second half of the season, he was absolutely terrifyingly unstoppable. Starting from the 24th matchday with Spurs in 4th place, Bale embarked on a run of form that was simply breathtaking. He produced 16 goals and assists in just 11 matches. In this incredible streak, he failed to score in only 2 games, but in those 2 matches, he still managed to provide 2 assists. And yet somehow by the end of this run, Spurs had gone down to 5th in the table. It had been proven beyond all doubt. There was nothing anyone, not even a player performing at this supernatural level, could do to save them. In the remaining competitions, it was the exact same story. In the Europa League, he got 6 goal contributions in 8 matches only for Tottenham to get knocked out by Basel the moment he got injured. In the FA Cup, even more shockingly, Bale scored or assisted every single one of the 4 goals scored by Tottenham, and they still managed to get knocked out after just 2 rounds against Leeds United. No matter how frustrating this must have been, the world was just as aware of Tottenham's shortcomings as Bale was. And so he became the second player in history after only Cristiano Ronaldo to win the PFA Player of the Year, PFA Young Player of the Year, and the FWA Footballer of the Year awards, all in a single season. It was crystal clear. Bale needed and deserved a move. It was futile for Tottenham to even try and keep him. As harsh as it might sound, they had proven they didn't deserve to have a player of that caliber in their squad. What followed was about 2 months of intense back and forth of speculation and contemplation. But eventually the rumors were proven true. Gareth Bale was going to be a modern-day Galactico, joining Cristiano at Real Madrid. His transfer would break Ronaldo's own world record. Gareth Bale would become the first ever €100 million player. An honor to say the very least. It should probably be mentioned that his transfer was a bit controversial. Some said the value was being exaggerated for marketing reasons. Others said the opposite, that Real Madrid claimed a lower value to take some of the immense weight off the player's shoulders. Who knows the real truth? The fact is that eventually, years after the transfer, there would be leaks and the exact value would be confirmed: $108 million. $6 million more than Cristiano Ronaldo. What a duo they were set to be. In his first season at Real Madrid, Bale was deployed on the right flank, and for the most part, he dazzled. Still, persistent injuries disrupted the first half of his season. He only managed to play the full 90 minutes on 7 occasions. In those 7 matches, he racked up an incredible 8 goals and 6 assists. But those were just fleeting glimpses of his true worth up to that point. In the second half, he stayed fit, but a slight dip in form up until April led the notoriously harsh Madrid press to start claiming that Bale doesn't know how to play football, only how to run. It's the type of criticism that a player who got 8 goals and assists in 13 matches could only ever receive in the pressure cooker of Madrid. But then, he silenced them all. He would end the season by scoring arguably the most iconic goal of his entire career. In the Copa del Rey final, an El Clásico against Barcelona, with just 5 minutes to go, he picked up the ball and was knocked off the pitch by Marc Bartra. But he didn't stop. He ran through the technical area off the field of play, out-sprinting Bartra, before returning to the pitch, collecting the ball, and slotting it home to win the cup. It was a goal of superhuman will and speed. And as if that wasn't enough, just 1 month later, in the final of the Champions League, he scored yet another iconic goal, a crucial header in extra time to help Real Madrid on their way to the fabled Décima, their 10th European crown. To add one more cherry on top, he would also score in the final of the Club World Cup. This should have been an undeniably impressive debut season. Bale showed up every single time he was needed in the biggest moments. But the €100 million price tag, coupled with the impossibly high standards of the Madrid crowd, led some to still question his worth. His second season wouldn't be the nail in the coffin, but it would sway a lot of opinions in the wrong direction. Bale would barely ever get injured that year and would get to play the most matches he ever managed in a season. But somehow, he would put out some of the lowest goal-scoring records he had managed in recent years. Even worse, he would be virtually invisible in the Champions League knockouts, not registering a single goal or assist. This disappointing end to the season led to Carlo Ancelotti being replaced by Rafa Benitez. Bale liked him very much. He did well under him. But the other players, and crucially the fans, did not share this feeling. And so, by January, Benitez was gone. And in came Zinedine Zidane. Maybe it was because Bale had shown discontent with the change. But from the beginning it seemed that Zidane and Bale never quite got along. At first it wasn't too obvious. Bale was struggling physically, but still managed to bang in 5 goals in his first 140 minutes under Zidane before he got seriously hurt and was out for about a month and a half. As he came back, it seemed he was en route to ghosting through the Champions League knockouts once again. But in the final 2 matches, he stepped up assisting Real's only 2 goals and then coolly scoring his penalty in the decisive shootout to win them their 11th Champions League title. Over that summer, Bale got to play in his one and only major international tournament, the Euro 2016. It was a truly special moment for Wales, a moment that came in great part due to the exceptional talismanic player that Bale was. He had dragged them there, getting 9 goals and assists in 10 matches through the qualifiers. In the tournament itself, he was magnificent as well. He scored in every single group stage match to help Wales finish in first place ahead of England, a truly historic moment for the national team. In the round of 16, he had an off game by his standards. But against a star-studded Belgium side in the quarterfinals, despite not scoring or assisting, he was everywhere. He was a constant menace, causing the sort of chaos and pressure that inevitably leads to goals. They would only get knocked out by the eventual champions Portugal in the semi-finals, as his Real Madrid teammate Cristiano Ronaldo scored and assisted to take his nation to the final. I remember watching that game and seeing the immense frustration on Bale's face. The Portuguese defense just kept getting the better of him. But if there's any testament to how good this man was, it could be seen in the sheer pride on his face, even in defeat. He was a hero for his country, an absolute titan. But back in Madrid, the cracks were beginning to show, and his relationship with Zidane was about to change everything. To make sure you don't miss how this incredible high turned into a bitter fallout, and for more stories of football's biggest legends, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss what comes next. The following season was marred by injury for Bale. Part of it was because he insisted that he was okay convincing Zidane to play him, perhaps because he sensed that his place in the team was in more risk than ever before. But it only led him to push his body too hard, and he ended up getting his other leg injured. Zidane was reportedly upset that he had been misled. And if he was already becoming more and more infatuated with the young Marco Asensio, who at the time seemed to be delivering a moment of magic every time he played, maybe this was the incident that caused the relationship to permanently sour. In the following season, Bale became a rotation player, barely ever trusted for the full 90 minutes, and frequently shoehorned into a more central position to accommodate for players like Isco and Asensio. It was clear to everyone that Zidane was not afraid of bruising Bale's ego. His season lacked in the iconic performance department. The Bale mania was dying down for good. And maybe he knew that. Because that year, in the face of being sidelined, he wrote perhaps the greatest chapter in his love story with cup finals. For the 3rd year in a row, Real Madrid were in the final of the Champions League. Cristiano Ronaldo had just come off a streak where he'd scored 26 goals in 15 matches. Before the semi-finals, he had scored in 12 consecutive Champions League games, totaling 15 goals already that season. If you were to rule out his other phenomenal seasons, that campaign alone would be one of the greatest in the history of the competition. It seemed no one could stop this team as long as Ronaldo was fit. But as the month of the final arrived, Ronaldo got injured. The red alert was on, and the alarms were sounded across Madrid. The team was in danger. As the final day arrived in Kiev, it was clear Ronaldo was not fully fit. The match against Liverpool was a tough, cagey fight, maybe even tilting in favor of Liverpool. Until the 60th minute when Gareth Bale was subbed on. Just 4 minutes later, he produced a moment of magic that will be replayed for eternity. Bale scored perhaps the best Champions League final goal of all time. A stunning acrobatic, perfectly executed bicycle kick to put Real Madrid in front. The audacity, the technique, the sheer brilliance of it left the world speechless. That goal, just unbelievable. A moment of pure genius that deserves to be seen by every football fan. If that bicycle kick gave you goosebumps, do me a favor and share this story with someone who loves the beautiful game as much as we do. And while you're at it, let me know in the comments. Which legend story should we tell next? As I've said before, that one goal would have been enough to make it a masterpiece of a performance. But then Bale scored a swerving long-range effort that sealed the final. He was without a shadow of a doubt the man of the match. The hero Real Madrid so desperately needed that day. Bale ended the season with 9 goals in his last 5 matches. Not much more could have been asked of him. When Ronaldo left for Juventus that summer, Bale must have thought he would finally get the chance to be the main man to prove his worth once and for all. But still, somehow, players like Lucas Vazquez would get more minutes than him over the next season. Sure, Bale had 5 different injuries that season, but only one of them left him out for more than a single match. It's easy to understand his mounting frustration. He was still delivering, still scoring a goal every 120 minutes on the pitch. What more could be asked of him to get a regular place in a trophyless Real Madrid team that was struggling to rebound from the loss of their greatest ever player? I expected him to leave that summer. But he didn't. He stayed for one more season. He was barely played. In the first half of the season, he only scored in 1 match. In the second half, he played a total of around 300 minutes. The drama had become uncontrollable at this point. Bale would openly say in interviews that he would stay as long as he got paid, knowing full well that Real weren't willing to pay him out of his massive millionaire contract just to get rid of him. Then, in November, he took it to a whole new level. After a crucial qualifier for the Euros with his beloved Wales, he was seen celebrating with a flag that a fan had thrown onto the pitch. A flag that read, Wales, Golf, Madrid, in that order. That was like spitting in the face of every single Madrid fan. At that moment, no one was feeling particularly grateful for the past heroics anymore. The relationship was broken beyond repair. And so he got loaned out to Tottenham, back to his old club, to play under Jose Mourinho. The start was awful. There's no denying it. Bale was almost always either injured or sitting on the bench. Many jumped on the bandwagon, gleefully declaring him finished a washed-up superstar, but then, suddenly in February, a switch flipped. He found a vein of form, a flash of the old magic, reminding everyone of the explosive talent that still resided within him. And that's where this incredible football story concludes. What a journey, right? A roller coaster of unbelievable highs and frustrating, complicated lows. I'm so eager to hear your thoughts on it all. What moment from Bale's career stood out to you the most? Did his struggle at Madrid resonate with you, or do you see it differently? Please share all your opinions, your favorite moments, and any questions you have in the comments below. I truly love reading them and building this amazing football community with all of you. Thanks for watching.